Greetings. Welcome back. Just wanted to share a couple of the meetings that I had this week and some of the things that I had taken away from them. We've done a lot of teaching so far on this channel. Just felt right to take a quick step away and bring some life, bring some reality, bring some connection to the channel this week. So with that said, I'd like to just kind of go off the cuff here today and we'll see where it goes. So thanks for joining the ride. Something that's unique to infinite banking concepts is the man who discovered it, the man who taught it, the man whose book is the foundation for all of things infinite banking concepts. That man is R. Nelson Nash. We certainly owe him a debt of gratitude for not only discovering this, but having the attitude and mindset that was always teaching. I wish I had the opportunity to meet him personally. I know a lot of people that have. Every single one of them will tell you that this man was just salt of the earth, have a conversation with you. He was never preaching to you about what you should be doing, but he would have been the first one that would have shown up and said, well, hey, what do you think about ... And he would have asked you a question that would have make it think about something a little differently. He would have always challenged your thinking. That's what infinite banking concepts does. It asks you to rethink your thinking, to understand the problem, because if you don't understand the problem, the solution won't make sense. Nelson would have said that infinite banking concepts was a test on your imagination, your logic, your reason, and prophecy. He would have said it's ridiculously simple. Don't overcomplicate it. Infinite banking concepts was discovered for the layperson, not for the financial professional trying to add something to their portfolio, not for some other sales tool in the insurance company, for the layperson that could take control of the banking function in their life. We all already bank. If you receive money from your job and you deposit it in a bank, you're a banker. Now, you may deposit it in the bank and lose some of that interest that you could have made that now the bank is going to loan out. There's all kinds of banking processes and functions that happen in the middle. But he would say that this is ridiculously simple. Are you controlling the banking function in your household? One of the options that he would recommend is paying premium to a dividend-paying whole life insurance product for as long as possible. Not for today, not just for tomorrow, but for as long as possible. One of the other things I heard this week that really resonated with me was how they can call whole life insurance insurance. Typically, when you think of insurance, you think of something that is protecting a risk. You're transferring risk for something or the loss of something to that insurance company. They pool the assets and in turn cover the risks of the few. House insurance. Maybe 100 people are insured for home insurance, but only 2 or 3 have a home fire. They collectively engage the assets of everyone, but they only needed to protect the 3 that had it happen. In the same scenario, they protected the risk of a loss. This is why I'm blown away that they can call whole life insurance insurance. Because like I said, the unknown of the risk is what creates the need for insurance. Whether or not you're going to pass away or not is not up for debate. Death and taxes, right? Those are the only things that are guaranteed. At some day, when we graduate, as Nelson would say, whether or not we stay on this earth for how long, that's out of my control, that's out of my hands. Yet, there is no unknown for that, which is why I'm really kind of blown away with that concept. When you think about insurance protecting a risk, covering a loss, it's an unknown. And yet we're going to call whole life insurance insurance when it's a guarantee. You are purchasing a product that at which some point is guaranteed to pay off. This is not term insurance that has a small window of which if you were to pass away in that window, there's a benefit that pays out. But day one after that window, if you were to pass away, there is no payout. That's not whole life insurance. It is guaranteed to pay out at some point. I have to recommend while we're here, go and read Becoming Your Own Banker by R. Nelson Nash. He talks a little bit about the history, the story, and then he explains how it's possible to become your own banker for your own household, regardless of how many zeros are behind your income. We get to custom make and custom build policies for customers, for clients, so that they can build this for themselves. You'll notice in the title of the book, it says becoming your own banker. It's not becoming Jared's banker. It's not becoming your mother's banker. It's becoming your own banker. It's you taking control of the banking function in your life. Rather than paying interest to an outside entity, rather than losing the opportunity cost of a future purchase, you're building your own system of which is constantly compounding year over year over year. Nelson would offer a couple of words of caution. He would say, this is not a get-rich-quick scheme. I've kind of renamed it as a get-rich-slow scheme, but it's not a get-rich-quick opportunity. It's also not about the rate of returns. The idea is you're controlling the banking function for your household, for your business. That's the whole goal. People overcomplicate it. They get too complicated with a variety of algorithms online and software and processes. This is, as Nelson said, ridiculously simple. Don't overcomplicate it. And regardless of what those outside factors may be, whether it's folks outside of your home that want to continue to make money off of you, whether it's just the system you were born into to understand, there's always learning to be had. There's always a way we can get better. This book offers the opportunity to start that. Within the first few pages of the book, you'll see a quote that says, in America, the problem isn't so much what people don't know. It's what they think they know that just ain't so. You can find that at the bottom of page 4, a Will Rogers quote. Another concept I may have mentioned in the past, or you may have heard on a podcast, is that whole life or dividend paying whole life could be called the and asset. It's called the and asset because while your cash value is sitting in an account, sitting in a policy, you can access it. So it's growing internally while you access it and deploy it externally. What I heard this week that I really, really liked was someone called it the before asset. Shout out, Mr. DeFazio. When you look at this as the before asset, we already talked about the order of operations. Nelson probably would ask someone in a conference, how tall you think that skyscraper may grow with weak foundation? And someone would probably say, I don't think it would go that tall. He'd say, exactly. That's why this is the before asset. This is the order of operations that starts all financial decisions. And I know we've highlighted this in other episodes, but we come back to the same concept. You finance everything you buy. You're either borrowing money from a lending institution and then paying them interest, or you're borrowing from your future earnings and paying an opportunity cost along the way. In either instance, you are financing every purchase you make, whether you're a loan from the bank type of folks or whether you're a pay cash folks. In either scenario, there is an interest cost to that transaction. So the question shows up, who's in control of that transaction cost? Do you own the system that allows the recapture of that interest that you're paying? So in a quick recap, infinite banking concepts is ridiculously simple. It's an act in imagination, in logic, in prophecy. It's something that R. Nelson Nash discovered and that we're all individually as practitioners just trying to carry that message. Just pass it along to the next folks. I already implement this for my family, and I'd love to talk to it about implementing it for yours. I'm Jared with Green Dot Wealth. Check out the website listed below. You can schedule a free 30-minute call with me where we'll start the analysis of what your current situation is and if infinite banking concepts is the right fit for you. You might also check out a financial freedom score calculator that's also on the website. You can take a quick 12-question test and see where your score is based on some of your own personal finance decisions, structure, and setup. I'm Jared with Green Dot Wealth, and we'll see you next week.